Hello and welcome to Jockeys, the podcast. I'm Adam McNamara, and this is the racing podcast where we strip away the guarded versions of jockeys that you see every day on TV, giving them the platform to tell us what they really think. We talk about their regrets and aspirations, and we have a couple of laughs along the way as well.
On this week's episode, Elizabeth Gale.
There was times where I was getting pretty fed up of it kind of not going the way I wanted, or more just wrecking my own head, to be honest, like thinking, oh, what am I doing wrong? Like I'm kind of one of those that always be like, right, well, if it's not happening, I'm doing something wrong. I definitely go back. There was a good pint of Guinness, 100%, because it is kind of hard to find. Obviously in this country, the name of the game is to ride winners. That's what we're here to do, and for some reason it's something that throughout my career I just haven't really been able to do. The lads, like, there's a few of them that have been there, and you've just got to keep going. You've just got to get your head down and just keep trying until it does happen, I suppose.
Elizabeth, welcome to Jockeys, the podcast. Really good to have you on. I want to get started by talking about outside of racing. So can you give us an idea of anything that you do, sort of hobbies, interest-wise, if you're not going to the races, riding out, so on and so forth? Is there something that you've got an interest in?
Yeah, I try and keep myself fairly busy, to be honest, if I'm not racing. I love horses in general, grew up with them. So try to get the odd day out with friends who have horses. Obviously, I don't have the time to have my own. So on weekends, I always try and kind of tag along with them and do things kind of horse related, but not in racing. But other than that, like, just I do like socializing. I try and see as many friends when I can. And obviously now being um kind of on a fitness journey with my apprentice license, I do quite a lot of gym and running and things like that as well alongside it all.
Yeah. Let's
So
go back to the socializing, because that's the most interesting bit I picked up on.
yeah.
When you're talking about socializing, are you talking like pints, or are you like just going for quiet dinner and stuff?
Probably the first one. Yeah, I've grown up north, so pub culture's a massive thing, and I just like going out for a pint with them, really. Just socializing and yeah, a few drinks, and just you know what, like, it's sometimes it just gives your brain a break just to talk about something else. And yeah, no, we just like going out and having a bit of fun. And I have a lot of friends, like, at all ends of the country, so every weekend there seems to be somewhere different with a different group of people, and they've all got something completely different to talk about. You can learn so much off other people. Like, it's actually like, when I was living down in Philip Hobbs's, back when I first started, we had a local pub down there, and it was always like on my way back to the yard, like back to the house, and I'd always stop in, and like, even if I didn't have a pint, just sitting down, there were a bunch of locals that weren't from racing backgrounds, and they might have had something to do with racing at some point, but they all had such interesting jobs, and like, they were all so different. I learned so much off them, just by going in and seeing them on my way home from racing. So no, it's just good for your brain, I think.
I am very fussy about what I drink now as well, and I just love Guinness. And if I can find like a good Guinness somewhere, that's where I'm going to go. So when you're out, is there a specific drink that you like to have? Is it beer? Is it wine? Like, what's your tipple?
I'm not gonna sound very ladylike for saying this, but Guinness is literally my go-to.
Really?
I just love a pint of Guinness. And it's like it's just an ongoing joke with, well, all the lads in the weight room and all my friends. They just think it's hilarious, to be honest. But I just love a pint of Guinness, to be honest. I don't really drink lager much. And I might, like, now, like I say, I'm a little bit lighter, so I have to obviously back off the pints of Guinness a bit to look after that. But yeah, like, I've just always, like, just loved Guinness, to be honest.
Tell
Yeah.
me about you. You've gone up like massively in my estimations.
Oh, I definitely go back. If there was a good pint of Guinness, 100%, because it is kind of hard to find, obviously in this country. But yeah, like, I wouldn't say it would be the stopping of me going to a pub. I went, "Oh, that's a bad pint. I'm not coming back here again." I think, um, but if it was a good pint, it would definitely bring me back, like, 100%. yeah, no, it's hard. Like some of them are okay, and some of them aren't so good. I think if I went back there and had a bad pint, I just wouldn't have a pint of Guinness next time. I wouldn't want to spoil kind of the enjoyment of it. But yeah, no, it definitely brings you back. I know that.
Yeah. And have you been to Ireland and like had a couple of Guinnesses over there?
Yeah, yeah. So all my step family are from County Cork, Ballydoyle down there. So like I came obviously when I went over there when I was younger, like bits and bobs. I think that's probably where I got my proper taste for it. And it's obviously a lot better over there.
Mhm.
Really enjoy it. They go down far too easy when I go over there. But yeah, no, been over there a few times and probably got even more love for it over there. So
Yeah, it's the one thing I miss, like, because obviously I've been living here for like 10 years now, and I don't like I miss a lot of Irish kind of culture and stuff. But I think one of the most important things I miss is like a good pint of Guinness, and again the kind of social aspect of it, one going to the pub and like having a good pint of Guinness. I think that's really important. Um, what else about Cork do you like? Because I'm from Limerick, so there's a bit of a rivalry there, and I appreciate Cork in a sense, but I'm not like a Cork fan. But from coming from like where you are in Cumbria to going to Cork and experiencing that, what's the culture shift, and what was it about Cork that you liked and sort of disliked?
well, I didn't dislike much of it to be honest. We've been over to Mallow a few times, few pubs. I mean, I just think it's a really beautiful place. There's obviously we do the odd touristy thing when we go over with like our family from over here who obviously haven't seen much of Ireland. And it's just such a beautiful place. I just think the people are that to be honest, I always say to my mum, joke to my mum, they're actually I always say they're my people. Like they're just
Mhm.
so friendly. But yeah, no, they're just lovely people. Easy to get on with, and like the place is beautiful. It's not mega busy, which I quite like. I think being up north, we don't really like do people. We're quite farmery backgrounds, things like that. So we're not used to being overwhelmed by people, and I think it's probably that bit quieter. I've only ever actually been to Cork City properly, like I think for one day. And again, it's just the same thing, just really friendly, pretty place to be, and just good crack, really.
Let's talk about gym stuff that you mentioned as well, because you've mentioned it's like a fitness journey moving from national hunt to flat, and we'll come on to the sort of national hunt to flat changes in a minute, but more specifically the gym stuff now. Um, how do you find that? Are you much busier in the gym than you used to be? And what specific stuff are you doing in the gym for your sort of fitness journey?
Yeah, different ball game, to be honest. I think I always thought I was fit over jumps, and now I've realised that I'm just like it's a whole different ball game. And I'm doing so much more. I mean, I'm in the gym. Well, I pretty much exercise like every day, but it's to a different level. I ran a half marathon a few weeks ago. Never thought I'd do that. I mean, I'm one of those people. I don't like running. Just
Mm.
and I don't know whether people. I don't know if you're actually allowed to say that because you probably it's a choice that you make, isn't it? Oh, I'm not good. But yeah, I did a half marathon, and to me that was like a massive achievement because I didn't think I could run. But yeah, I've just had to improve like my fitness from level to level, and I think as well in my riding I've noticed it how much it's helped being stronger and like just being able to consistently push a horse strong for longer. It's really showing the fact like those hours that you're putting in. And yeah, like in the gym I wouldn't do a lot of heavy stuff because I'm actually quite a lot heavier than like most people, well most girls anyway. I think I am quite heavy compared to them, so can't do like a whole lot. I'd love to do like CrossFit and things, but I'd just get too heavy. But yeah, like just going in and just going on the bike, lifting weights where I can, and just making myself stronger, and just setting little goals as well, just to aim for. Yeah, just really enjoy it, and like I say, I'm a lot fitter than what I used to be a couple of years ago.
And how do you figure out what you need to do? I mean, do you go to like say personal trainers, or like for me nowadays I'm finding everything on TikTok. I find TikTok really useful for like if I want to know a specific exercise in the gym, say I want to do like want to get bigger arms, whatever, then you can just type that in TikTok and you've got like tons of different exercises that are kind of tried and tested. So are you doing that sort of thing, or are you getting personal trainers, or what is it that's kind of helping you build your plan?
So what it is I actually have like a little system in place. So when I got injured back when I first started my career, I was in Jackbury House for a very long time, and they have like a routine, a set routine that they kind of use in the gym, and I found that that really worked for me. So I do cardio first, um, and then that just seemed to make everything else easier. So then I go on to like doing my so say specific muscle groups for the day, and then I would set my kind of exercises and sets around a similar routine to what I always did when I was in Jackbury House. But as far as like actually finding like the exercises for muscle groups and stuff, like you say on Instagram reels and things like that, so much can be said for social media, as everyone knows. But I find it so like there's so much I've learned off it, and things that I've found on Instagram reels and things that I just factor them in, and some of them work, some of them don't. Just play around with it, and then I just build my routine from there really.
Yeah. And then let's talk about the kind of mental aspect of it as well, because I think similar to what we touched on earlier, like the how helpful it is for your mentality socializing with people. I think again the gym and getting in the gym and having that routine is a big mental health help. Would you say the same? Do you think it has an effect on your sort of mood day to day and just kind of how you feel about yourself?
Yeah, I think it depends if I'm sweating or not, to be honest.
Yeah.
If I'm sweating, I don't normally leave there in a better mood. Um, but no, like I do. If like I say, if I'm not sweating, I do really enjoy it, and I feel, I think, like I say, I have really like noticed how much I've got better, and that like gives me such like a well, just that feel good factor, isn't it? That you know that you're improving, and that all them hours have turned out to be worth it, really. So yeah, no, it does make me feel, I do feel good about myself leaving 100%. Think, that's an extra pint tonight. Happy days.
You mentioned earlier the fitness change from sort of national hunt to flat. First question, and this is a yes or no type of question: are flat jockeys fitter than jump jockeys?
Hope it does upset anyone, but yeah, I'd say so.
I always assumed national hunt jockeys would be fitter, just purely based on like you're on the horse longer, you're going for longer distances, and it's a bit more of a slog. Tell me, how is it that flat jockeys are fitter? What is it that flat jockeys are doing that national hunt jockeys maybe aren't doing so much of that makes them need to be fitter?
Um, I just think like this is my opinion, but I find that with the jumping, there's so many more factors to your riding. As you know, you're going around for a lot longer. Obviously, you've got all your jumping, all your skills, right? Like there's so much to just riding one jump race. I feel like obviously you have to be fit, but it's not purely about that. I mean, like if you make a mistake at a fence, then you can make it up half a mile further into the race. That sort of side of it. There's more time and there's more elements to it. Whereas I find with the flat, especially like for me, like riding sprinters, all
Yeah.
and they're all, you say, especially if they're 2 year olds, you know, you're holding them together, but you've just got to be so strong and so fit. And I know it's for a shorter duration of time. Um, but the pushing is just, it's more consistent. There's nothing breaking up that race when you jump out them stalls to when you're past the line pulling up even, you're constantly using your body physically and your strength. And there's nothing that breaks that up at all. So for me, it's probably a different type of fitness, but I just think from riding, obviously I've slowly ridden more and more 2 year olds as my career's gone on and stuff. I've just really realized like how strong and fit you have to be, for albeit a shorter space of time. But just thinking the jump racing, there's more breaking it up as you're going round, even though you're going round for longer. Um, yeah, whereas the flat racing is just one burst of energy and just strength all the way from start to finish.
In the weighing rooms, respectively, national hunt and flat, there's a kind of a, I feel like there's a different sense of humor. I feel like on the
Yeah,
flat, it's kind of more like a sarcastic, kind of chippy humor, and national hunt is a bit more just kind of like Jack the Lad's humor. Do you feel like that's the same? Is it a different sense of humor, or am I just twigging that wrong?
yeah, it is like a little bit more sarcastic on the flat. I think I think, to be honest, some of the lads, bless them, they're probably cutting that much weight back all the time and things like that. They probably haven't got the energy to be like acting the lad all the time. I think I
Mm.
might be wrong. But that's what I've kind of picked up on. Whereas the jump lads, obviously, they don't have to cut as much weight back all the time, and they almost seem to have more energy to be messing around, you know. Whereas on the flat, maybe the lads are just probably a bit tired, and they've got such a busy lifestyle. They're just trying to make jokes out of what they kind of have, you know.
I think one thing I've noticed that is very similar across both is in both weighing rooms, and I've just been thinking about this because it happened recently in both weighing rooms I've been in, flat and national hunt, is that they both have the same sense of humor in terms of if, say, a race is going on and the lads are sat around watching the weighing room, and I wish we could get a camera in there for this because I think people actually find this really funny. But if there's a race going on, and say on the flat, if someone's getting ran away with, or they've gone 40 lengths clear, or horses playing up down the start, they'll all start laughing and taking the piss, and like everyone will have a big joke about it. And similar with National Hunt, if something's jumping bad and like clattering into hurdles every time it jumps, then they'll all start roaring and shouting and winding up in the waiting room as well about it. And I find that really funny. And I think a part of it is like, we know this is scary, but we kind of have to make a joke about it, otherwise it feels scary. But I do think it's the same on the flat and jumps, and I'm kind of glad people do that because it does make light of what can sometimes be a bit of a like serious situation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the principles of it all are the same, even though the senses of humour may be slightly different. I do think the principles, all the lads are there for each other at the end of the day. We're all in it together, and we're all doing the same thing. And I think I think for everyone's sanity, I think that we all have to be like that because,
Mm.
you know, when lads are having a bad day, like it filters through, you know, the older lads, they've all been there. They've all had it happen to them, whatever it be. And I think it's so lovely across the board that everyone can kind of, when those mistakes happen and stuff, we can all just have a laugh about it together and just mess on about it rather than it be kind of an issue or like a problem that people kind of go home worrying about. I think across board, I think, like I say, everyone's in it together. Everyone's been there at some point and learned from it. And I think, oh yeah, I would like to see a lot of the lads' reactions though. That it is very entertaining if you've got one ride in the first and one in the last, and you go and perch yourself in the canteen. And it, you know, I don't know, you've got a few 2-year-old racers on the card. It's definitely entertaining, sat in there
Mm.
listening to the lads chat away anyway.
Let's talk a little bit more about your own kind of career and the transition, because obviously you started out over the jumps and you had some like decent times over the jumps and like good winners at Aintree and stuff like that. I always felt like there was going to be a point where you just took off. Like it was a bit of a slow burn, but it's going to take off. And then it just kind of didn't. And obviously you had injuries and stuff to deal with as well. So how difficult was that, like trying to be patient through that period and like keep working and grafting when it may have felt like things aren't happening as quickly as you'd like them to?
It was hard, definitely. Just have to keep plugging on, really. I mean, like that's how I always felt. I always felt like I'd have a really good day, or something would happen, or I'd be jocked up on one, and or I'd ride a winner, or whatever it was, and I think, oh, do you know what? Like it's gonna get going now, and it never really did. I had some really good times, 100%. It was just hard and quite. It's hard fighting the feeling of being disheartened. I think that was the
Mm.
biggest thing for me because it's what I've wanted to do since I was 4 years old. Like I know exactly what it is I want to do, and I know what I have to do to kind of get there. I just I found it incredibly hard to fight that feeling of just being disheartened by the whole thing, thinking that, oh well, it's gonna happen, and then it doesn't, and then it happens kind of again and again, I suppose. But I think again, like a lot of the lads, like there's a few of them that have been there, and you've just got to keep going. You've just got to get your head down and just keep trying until it does happen, I suppose.
Was there periods where you ever like genuinely considered like this isn't for me, I'm gonna pack this in? Did it ever get that bad?
I don't think, no, I never even considered giving up. No, that never even crossed my mind, to be honest. As weird as it is, I mean, I'm trying to think back now. Like I always there was times where I was getting pretty fed up of it kind of not going the way I wanted, or more just wrecking my own head, to be honest, like thinking, "Oh, what am I doing wrong?" Like, I'm kind of one of those that always be like, "Right, well, if it's not happening, I'm doing something wrong." And then I try and fix it. And I think that was for me the biggest thing. I never really thought, "Oh, I'm gonna like it's not happening. Maybe I should just retire," because, like I say, I'm just so stubborn, and all I ever wanted to do was this. So yeah, yeah, no, it never really crossed my mind too much.
You said stubborn there, but I'd say resilient would be the word I'd use because like
Yeah.
I think it's too easy to say I'm stubborn, I'm just getting on with it. But like you said, when you're that disheartened, it's not easy to keep picking yourself up and keep going on with it. But obviously it seems like your passion for it is what kind of sustained you through that period because it's all you want to do, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, it's the passion, I think. Yeah, it just keeps you strong, and keeps you thinking forward. And like I'm quite a forward thinking person, and I'd always be thinking, right, what are we doing next? Like, how are we going to get there? Just always thinking, right, what can I do? And it probably, yeah, it does pay off in the end. You've just got to keep going, keep your head down.
Speaking about paying off, then you transitioned to the flat, which I'd imagine must have been a kind of a tricky, difficult decision to make, changing from kind of what you knew to going into the unknown and taking a bit of a chance. But it looks like it paid off really quickly because you were banging in winners kind of from the get go, and like your name's popping up the paper more, and people are paying attention. Did that feel like to you then you were getting the kind of like, I don't want to say just rewards, but for all the years that you put in, did you feel like it was starting to pay off and that you're getting somewhere now?
Yeah, I suppose so. I think looking back at it now, 3 months down the line, I think I see it like that. At the time, I was just thrilled that I was finally doing what I wanted to do, like getting in the car, going racing every day. And I know, like, obviously the riding winners makes it so easy, but it was getting me into a position that I always dreamt of being in, like like I say, being able to go to the race every day, and that being like kind of that's my job, and that's what I'm doing all the time. Whereas obviously before I was always riding maybe once a week or every other week when things were quiet, but I was finally kind of doing what I always dreamed of doing. So it was a big change, but it's yeah, no, it's worked out anyway.
You know, you say you've been dreaming about it for so long. Obviously, like as a young person, as a young jockey, I think most young jockeys kind of visualize success a lot. Like you always dream about what it'll feel like to ride a big winner, what it'll feel like to be going racing every day, like you said. So then when it happens and you make that change to flat and you start riding regularly and you're banging in a couple of winners, does it feel like a shock to you or does it feel kind of familiar because you visualize it so much, if that makes sense?
I think a shock. I think my entire career, I've always so one thing I've always lacked. The name of the game is to ride winners. That's what we're here to do, and for some reason, it's something that throughout my career I just haven't really been able to do. I mean, like when I rode my first winner as a conditional, it was my first ever ride as a conditional, and it was a massive thing because I've been riding pony racing, pointer pointing, amateur race. Like I've done all of that and I've never ridden a winner. Then when I turned 21 and finally got that winner that I'd waited so long for, I think is a huge shock. And even now, like if I ride a winner now, I don't think people realize how much it means to me because I had to wait so long for the first one. And even throughout my conditional career, had to really bide my time for each one that I got. I felt like I did earn it, but every single one does mean a lot. So yeah, no, it's still always a shock, and obviously a good shock, good feeling.
I think it's important though, isn't it, to like try and appreciate them as they come as well. Because I think it can be a little bit too easy when things are happening fast to just keep looking forward and keep going on to the next one, which is kind of important in its own right. But like you said, kind of being a jockey, the whole point is to ride winners. So if you're not appreciating them as they happen, it's kind of like a massively missed opportunity, isn't it? That you're not appreciating basically what you're there to do.
Yeah, definitely. And like I say, it's taken me so long to get into the position that I'm in now. And like obviously put a lot of work in behind the scenes for a few years. I think I just now I want to appreciate it when it goes well. I really, really want to appreciate it because just feel like I've just maybe earned it a little bit. And but like don't get me wrong, now I've had them few winners, I'm hungrier than ever, and I do want it more and more. And do like it just and it, I obviously I can always concentrate that feeling into my work and graph behind the scenes. But yeah, no, it's just yeah, you've just always got to appreciate it. It's a very up and down sport.
Another thing I want to ask you about the sort of flat weighing, as it were. Obviously, you'd spend a lot of time in the female changing room, which obviously all the male jockeys don't get to see, and all the male jockeys know what it's like being in a male jockey room. What's it like, sort of being in that female jockey room? Because it's generally, obviously, there's less of you in there. It's a bit of a quieter environment, and you've got the likes of Holly and Safi and Josie and Nicola and so on. What's that like in that environment? Are you all quite supportive of each other? Is it similar to the male changing room, or is there big differences?
It would be very, very like everyone gets on really well. Um, like compared to the jumping, for example, I could ride say 3 times a week, and I could be on my own 3 times a week. So for me, it's actually been a massive shock to have the girls in there. I'm normally just like either on my own or in the canteen with the lads. Um, so for me, I found that well, everyone obviously gets on, like I say, we all doing the same thing, and we're all very, very helpful with each other. For me, it's just nice to have them in there and have a bit of company when you're going racing, and like everyone's obviously really helpful. And yeah, we always have a bit of crack, especially when there's a lot of us in there. So yeah, no, it's nice to have a bit of chat.
Another one I wanted to ask you about is the kind of social media aspect. And obviously, there's a lot of negatives to social media, but I want to talk about some of the positives today, if we can. So, how do you view social media in terms of like jockeys and as a tool? Because I feel like, again, with racing, we're maybe a generation too behind, where the kind of stars of the show, generally speaking, haven't been very like accessible to the public. You don't get to see much of the behind the scenes, and you get the odd kind of clip here and there. How important do you think it is for the sport and for jockeys going forward that we kind of, I suppose, open up the doors in a sense and like get that content out there on social media, the same as other sports have done, to one, to get people interested, but two, just to show them the actual reality of racing?
I think in the world that we're living in now, and it's never going to go back, social media is just it is a platform, and if you can use it correctly, you can get yourself so many benefits from it. I just think it's so important to be I mean, I personally, I like using it. I think it's really good to kind of get your profile out there. Like it's just it's kind of the world we live in now. It's just a go-to. I mean, everyone's phone has got Instagram on it pretty much, or Facebook or whatever it was, and Twitter, whatever. Um, I think if you can get your profile up on there, and you can sell yourself on there, it's only going to benefit you in the long run. I think that's the world we're living in now, and I think for racing as a whole, we are much, much better at it now. Um, but again, it's just we're always a little bit behind the times with everything changing, and it like I say, it's just a second nature to most people now, using social media. So I think well, as jockeys, I think we'd be mad not to kind of utilize that and sell ourselves. And I think you can really develop yourself outside of the saddle, even using them platforms. Like I love putting on there all about my running and things like that. And hey, you never know, it might land me with some nice sponsor with, I don't know, an electrolyte supplier or something. I just think it should be used. Um, and I think it's massively beneficial for the public to see what we're getting up to, you know. There are aspects of racing that people never have really seen, like so I don't know, like I suppose the gym stuff, the jockeys. I mean, like there's a lot of people that wouldn't have thought we do kind of that much of that, or that we actually really enjoy it or whatever. And if someone sees, I see that she's I don't know, going running half marathons, or she's in the gym and she's entered for a high rocks competition, and they go, "Oh, what does she do?" And then they realise, "Oh, she's a jockey." It's just opening up gateways for people to find their way into the sport, and that can only be a good thing, surely.
Right, I've got one final question for you, and it's a recurring theme before I let you go, so I'm gonna have to ask it. Obviously, being a jockey and stuff, you're naturally quite busy. You've got ups and downs. You're in the gym and so on and so forth. So, I want to ask you, how's the love life? How are you managing that alongside being a jockey, trying to socialize with friends and fit everything in? How's it going?
Yeah, no, I just too busy almost, if you know what I mean. Don't get me wrong, we all go out on Saturday night and we all love an old flirt on a Saturday night, have a bit of crack, but unfortunately I haven't really got much time for commitment. So yeah, always go out, always having the crack with the lads and always chatting away to them and joking and I think to be honest, when you spend that much time with the lads, you end up just kind of joining on to their jokes of their love lives, to be honest. But yeah, no, not much time for commitment, unfortunately.
So this isn't like an advertisement for Elizabeth Gale, saying and looking, we're too busy at the minute.
Well, if you're listening and you're tall, dark, and handsome, like a pint of Guinness, I'm trying to think. There's a few. If you're fitting into that category, hopefully maybe less than 25, older than 23. That'd be a good window if anyone is single.
You've got a type
I was
then.
gonna say Irish, but I was gonna say Irish, but then I think that's a bit too specific, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, there might be some geographical issues there trying to get them across on the boat and stuff.
Mm, yeah, unless they really like getting Ryanair flights, don't think that's gonna work.
Right, it's
Oh,
been an
funny.
absolute pleasure having you on. Thanks very much for coming on, and yeah, we'll be watching you with interest throughout the winter, I'm assuming, and hopefully on to next season.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.